Welcome to a place where family secrets don't stay buried and silence is never the ending. This channel tells the stories no one dares to say out loud, the kind built on broken trust, stolen futures, and betrayals disguised as love. Here, a father's sacrifice hides selfish choices. Family loyalty is twisted into emotional control, and marriages built on secrets quietly destroy everything around them. These are stories where power is abused behind closed doors, where money becomes a weapon, and where the truth is always delayed but never denied. Each story unfolds slowly, revealing raw emotions, shocking decisions, and the moment patience turns into calculated revenge. If you've ever felt underestimated, betrayed, or silenced by the people who were supposed to protect you, you're not alone. This is where consequences finally arrive, quietly, legally, and permanently. Stay here because these stories don't just entertain, they expose. The first crack appeared quietly, disguised as concern. College had always been spoken about like a shared victory, something earned through years of discipline and patience. Every small sacrifice was justified with the same promise that the future was secure. That belief collapsed the moment the truth surfaced, not through confession, but through avoidance. Questions about tuition were met with deflection, bank statements disappeared, and suddenly the silence felt intentional. When the truth finally surfaced, it felt calculated rather than desperate. The college fund hadn't vanished overnight. It had been drained carefully, transferred by transfer, each one deliberate. The explanation came wrapped in the language of sacrifice. Loans were overwhelming, stress was unbearable, and family was expected to understand. But understanding didn't erase the sting of betrayal. What was framed as survival revealed itself as entitlement. A future was treated like spare change. What cut deeper was learning this decision wasn't made alone. The husband stood quietly behind it all, influencing every move while pretending neutrality. He spoke about responsibility while hiding his own failures. Loans weren't just from bad luck, they came from reckless choices, impulsive investments, and secrets buried under charm. Credit cards opened without discussion, money borrowed under false pretenses, a lifestyle sustained by lies. The authority of a father had been used as a shield, and the marriage as an echo chamber. Any doubt was dismissed as disrespect, any challenge labeled ungrateful. Trust became a tool to manipulate, not protect. Watching it unfold felt like mourning something that had been alive for years without ever realizing it was already rotting. Anger didn't arrive loudly. It settled in slowly, replacing shock with clarity. Patterns emerged. This wasn't the first promise broken, just the largest. The college fund was only the most visible casualty. Beneath it lay years of emotional control, financial secrecy, and a husband who benefited while pretending to sacrifice nothing. The most painful realization wasn't the stolen money. It was understanding that the betrayal was justified in their minds, that a future earned through effort meant less than debts earned through selfishness, that love was conditional and loyalty only flowed upward. The moment everything changed was the moment the truth stopped hurting and started empowering. And that's when the regret began. What looked like a solid family from the outside was held together by silence, not love. Dinners were polite, smiles were practiced, loyalty was demanded, not earned. The moment money became the issue, the truth surfaced, not in arguments, but in what everyone refused to say. Questions about the missing funds were brushed aside with sighs and guilt-laced reminders of everything already given. Silence became the family rule, and breaking it meant being cast as ungrateful. Excuses flowed easily. The debt was framed as unavoidable. The decision was painted as collective, even though no one had been consulted. Each time the issue surfaced, emotional pressure replaced logic. Tears appeared on cue. Voices lowered. Responsibility was shifted. The message was clear. Protecting the family image mattered more than accountability. What hurt most was how quickly loyalty turned into manipulation. Support was conditional. Agreement was expected. Any resistance was met with reminders of obligation and sacrifice. The husband played a central role, always calm, always reasonable, quietly guiding the narrative. He spoke of unity while hiding his own financial recklessness. Loans weren't just inherited problems, they were the result of gambling on risky ventures, secret credit lines, and a lifestyle built on appearances. Every conversation felt rehearsed, the same phrases repeated. It's done, dwelling won't help, family doesn't turn on family. But family had already turned inward, protecting the wrong people. Truth became the enemy. Transparency was treated like betrayal. Behind closed doors, cracks widened. Arguments erupted when no audience was present. Blame shifted between spouses. The husband grew defensive when numbers were mentioned, quick to redirect attention elsewhere. Bank statements were locked away. Passwords changed. The secrecy grew heavier, more obvious, yet everyone pretended not to notice. What shattered the illusion completely was realizing how deliberate it all was. This wasn't panic, it was strategy. Silence wasn't accidental, it was enforced. Emotional manipulation wasn't a reaction, it was a habit. Loyalty had been weaponized to shield selfishness, and love had been reduced to leverage. The anger that followed wasn't explosive, it was cold and focused. Watching them rely on silence for protection revealed exactly where they were weakest. Truth doesn't need permission to surface, it only needs patience. And when accountability finally arrived, no one could hide behind family anymore. The marriage looked stable from the outside, but control doesn't announce itself loudly. It slips into conversations, disguises itself as logic, and slowly becomes the final word on every decision. Long before the money disappeared, the influence was already there. Dad stopped deciding on his own. Every financial move passed through his husband first, framed as advice but enforced like law. The truth revealed itself in fragments, a comment overheard, a document tucked away too carefully, a reaction that came too fast whenever finances were mentioned. The husband wasn't just aware of the drained college fund, he orchestrated it. He understood exactly how much power he held and used it with precision. Fear was his currency. Fear of debt, fear of failure, fear of losing control of the household narrative. He preached responsibility while hiding recklessness. The loans weren't necessities, they were consequences of greed, risky investments pitched as opportunities, personal debts disguised as family burdens. Every loss was reframed as temporary, every lie justified as protection, and Dad believed him because believing was easier than admitting manipulation. What made it unbearable was the calm confidence. The husband never raised his voice. He smiled, reassured, redirected. When doubts surfaced, he labeled them emotional. When questions came up, he provided partial truths. Documents were edited, timelines adjusted. He controlled information the same way he controlled people, by deciding what they were allowed to know. Late nights revealed more than conversations ever did. Phone calls whispered behind closed doors, emails deleted immediately after reading, accounts opened under different names. The image of a responsible partner crumbled into something far uglier. This wasn't desperation, it was exploitation. He didn't just drain money, he drained trust, using marriage as cover. The most shocking realization was how easily Dad surrendered authority. A father's role was traded for approval. Promises made to a child were sacrificed to keep peace with a spouse who thrived on dominance. Watching that dynamic unfold made one thing clear. The marriage wasn't built on love or partnership, but on control and complicity. Anger sharpened into awareness. Every secret uncovered weakened the illusion he relied on. Power only works when it's invisible. Once exposed, it turns fragile. The same man who controlled every decision grew nervous when facts were mentioned aloud. His confidence faltered when silence stopped working. The marriage that once ruled the household became the reason everything fell apart. And control, once uncovered, never survives the truth. Pain didn't explode all at once. It settled quietly, observing, learning. What looked like acceptance was really patience. Every conversation, every excuse, every forced smile became part of a larger picture. Nothing was confronted anymore because confrontation would have warned them. Silence worked better. Silence made people careless. While the household believed the damage had been absorbed, attention shifted to details they assumed went unnoticed. Dates stopped lining up. Numbers contradicted stories. The husband, so confident in control, grew sloppy. Lies were repeated too often. Bank alerts appeared at odd hours. Mail arrived addressed to unfamiliar accounts. Each discovery confirmed what instinct already knew. This wasn't just betrayal, it was fraud dressed up as family duty. Research replaced anger. Late nights were spent understanding systems they never bothered to learn. Laws, policies, paper trails. Every secret leaves a footprint, and the husband left many. Loans taken out under misleading information, assets hidden to avoid liability, decisions made without consent, justified later with emotional pressure. All of it documented, saved, and quietly organized. They mistook calm for weakness. The husband continued speaking with authority, still believing control was intact. He talked freely, bragged even, confident that no one would dare challenge him. That confidence became his undoing. The more he talked, the more he revealed. Names, numbers, timelines. Every word another brick in the case he didn't know was being built. Revenge didn't arrive as chaos. It arrived as paperwork. A formal complaint filed without warning, an audit triggered by facts, not emotion, questions asked by people he couldn't manipulate. Suddenly, the same man who once controlled every decision couldn't control the outcome. His voice lost its calm, his posture shifted, the power he relied on evaporated under scrutiny. Dad realized too late what loyalty had cost. The marriage he protected offered no shield when consequences showed up. The husband deflected blame, distanced himself, rewrote history. But records don't forget. Evidence doesn't bend. Everything he hid to maintain control became the reason he lost it. Watching the fallout wasn't satisfying in the way anger imagines. It was quiet, final, permanent. The future that was stolen couldn't be returned, but something more valuable took its place: freedom from manipulation and truth exposed where silence once lived. Consequences don't need to be loud to be devastating. If this story made you feel something, anger, relief, or recognition, don't ignore it. These stories exist because silence protects the wrong people. Hit like if you believe the truth always finds a way out. Subscribe if you want more real stories about family betrayal, hidden manipulation, and revenge that doesn't scream but never misses. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter, because some endings don't come with closure, they come with consequences.